In this lesson, we're going to pull back the curtain on both iconic solos from Comfortably Numb, not only learning them note for note, but also we'll look at some key takeaways we can use for our own playing. We're going to begin with the first solo at 50% tempo, really slowly looking and seeing what's going on. We'll do the same thing for the second solo, 50% tempo, then a breakdown for the first solo, and then a breakdown for the second solo. So if you want to skip ahead to a part that really interests you, you can just use the chapters. Don't forget to download the free tabs with the link in the description below. And now, on with the lesson. Now that we've seen how both solos go at a nice slow tempo, let's do a real deep dive and look at some key takeaways for both solos. We'll start with the first one. All right, to kick it off, we're going to start on the 14th fret of the high E string. I like to use the middle finger because we're going to do this semitone bend like that. So if you can imagine a D major chord, it's like doing like that sus4 kind of trick where you add the pinky and then take it away. It's just like that, but in solo form. So we follow that up with a bend on the 15th fret of B. Then we pick as we're still bent up and then bend down like that. Okay, and this second chord here, it's the same kind of trick. If you imagine an A major chord and then a sus4 and then lifting back up, that's what he's doing essentially. So here's both those licks together. Then we kind of repeat it. But we add on like that. So he's just basically running down the D major scale. Then that sets up this really awesome bend he's going to do from the 9th fret of the G string, and it's a minor third bend. So we're going to go. If you're having a hard time with your bends and kind of gauging, how far you should be bending or the pitch you should be bending to, try doing this. So if we're going to bend from the 9th fret and we're going to do a minor third bend, that means we just go up 3 frets, play that note fretted. So that'll be the 12th fret. And that's essentially where we want to match our pitch to. So listen to that tone, you hear it, and then go back and then just play around with it. And we're really not looking for perfection here. The thing about bends is they're very expressive and they're not perfect. That's the whole point of them. If we wanted a perfect pitch or as close to it as we could get, we'd probably fret the note anyway. So it's more about the expressiveness. So just kind of play around, fret it, bend it. Then moving on. I want to take a second to just bring some attention to that last bend. It's really a powerful sound, and it really evokes a certain kind of emotion. To me, there's something kind of triumphant and soaring about it. And the reason is this: when you hear that bend, it's against a C major chord. The note being bent is an F sharp up to a G. And without getting too into the weeds, music theory-wise, that's a sharp 4 interval. So if you do a C major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then raise that up, that's called a raised fourth. And that is the kind of the Lydian sound. It's like the signature interval of the Lydian mode. I think that's why it's so emotionally impactful, that bend, or it is to me at least. Okay, now moving on from there, he goes back up to the 14th fret, kind of where we started. And this time I just use the ring finger because it's a little bit of a different approach. We're going to go. Then to kind of wrap everything up, we did this move where we kind of walk it down. And this is where the chorus kind of comes back in, and he does this last little section here where we bend up again a minor third from this 9th fret of G. Then just a whole step bend. I think that a couple of the things that really make that solo so special, and a couple of its strengths, are that it's pretty simple when you look at it in terms of what's actually happening. A lot of times he's outlining the chord tones for the chord being played by the rhythm section, and it just sounds so good. It's just so compatible with the chords that are being played, that everything just works. The other thing that's really special about the solo, this one and the next one, is the use of bends and how they create tension and release. So like I was saying before with the D chord, when you add a sus4 and then come away from it, that's a form of tension and release. When you hear this, it really feels like it needs to go somewhere, which is here. And in the solo, it works the same kind of way. So that's kind of a cool takeaway, is we can take some of the tricks we do with the chords we play and apply them to our solos and get a lot out of it. And then one more key point that will apply to this solo and equally to the next one is David Gilmour's phrasing. It's just beautiful. There's this sense of inhale and exhale to everything he does. He'll have a note that he holds for a minute, and then he'll play a few notes and hold it, and then play a few more notes and hold it. There's this beautiful pacing to it that I think that we all can learn from and benefit from. Some of us, I know sometimes I fall into this category where I might play too much, too many notes, and it's like being in a conversation with somebody that never lets you think about what they said or never gives you a chance to talk. And so that space that he leaves is one of the greatest strengths. And it's kind of reassuring, and it's kind of cool that we can say, okay, we don't need to do too much. In fact, we may be doing more than we need to, maybe strip it back a little bit. Hey, Chris here. Real quick, if you're liking this video, then you gotta check out my online course and community. Book your free one-on-one session with me today, and let's talk about taking your playing to the next level. Link in the description below. Now, on with the video. Now let's take a really close look at the second solo, note for note, and let's kind of set it up a little bit here. It's got a completely different vibe to it because it's more of a minor feel. And in fact, almost the entire thing is made up of the B minor blues scale. And there's only, I think, maybe one exception to that, which is sometimes he puts a ninth in there, and I'll explain as we go. The cool thing is that we're not required to use some fancy exotic scale to have a really great solo. You can use really basic stuff, but know how to use it really well, like Gilmour, and get a lot out of it. All right, to kick it off, we're going to be in first position of the B minor blues scale. So 7th fret is kind of the position we want to be in. We're going to go to 7th fret of G to kick it off. He opens up with this pinch harmonic where it kind of grabs the a little bit of the pick and a little bit of the thumb. Then we go to the 9th fret and bend up a whole step. We're going to pick that again. Moving on, we go right up to the 2nd position of the minor pentatonic. Now let me break some of that down. So as we went up to this next position here, then this big bend here, what I would say is if you're having a hard time gauging where to bend to and the sound of it, play the note that you're kind of bending up to. So that'll be the 15th fret of the B string. That's the note D. Go back after you hear it and see if you can more or less match the pitch. Like that. Trying to match David Gilmour's bends specifically is really a great challenge, but I think it's really worth the effort. So here it is again. Move down to first position again. Then to kind of end this section, we do this lick. Moving on. Now here is the first ninth. I mentioned that the only kind of outlier to the B minor blues scale is this ninth, and what I mean by that is it's the second note in the scale, but the second and the ninth are the same interval. It's just that the ninth is an octave higher. So we're going to go like this. 7th fret of B. And we bend up a semitone. So there it is again, that bend, that semitone bend creates a lot of tension, and then it creates a better release when you go away from it. So again. Okay, let's pause for a second. I want to really talk about this rhythm that he does. At a couple different points in the solo, he introduces a triplet, and it's an amazing way to kind of mix up the rhythmic texture of what you're playing. So everything has a certain kind of style up to this point, and he has this beautiful phrasing that I was talking about in the first solo, like this really nice breath to everything. But then this triplet happens, and by the way, a triplet is like, think of it like this: if you have 4/4 and you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, just try to fit 3 inside of each clap. Triplet, 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 triplet. That's all it is. And yet it adds so much to the solo and to the vibe of it. So again here, the pinky finger on 10 of B. And that same kind of rhythm is going to happen a couple more times, and we'll see it in a little bit here. Moving on, let's go to the 7th fret again, and there's a bit of a double stop on the first pick, it sounds like. So we're going to hit G and B string. Then bend on the 9th fret. Then we're going to go right back to that triplet kind of motif. Then some more kind of double stops. Then we're going to do a couple bends here from 9th fret of G. Go to 7 of E. Then another triplet run. Now this leads us to the kind of the climax of the solo where we go up really high. We're going to go to 17 of high E, do a full bend with a good amount of vibrato. Then we're going to move up to 19. And a little trill there. Then we're going to move down to 12 of E. Now again with that bend, when we're on 12th fret, we're really bending up to the pitch of the 14th fret. And you can go back and forth like we were checking out earlier with some of the other bends and practice it that way. So again from here. And you hear that little pull off. We come down from the bend and pull off to 10th fret. Then this little kind of closing lick. Now to kind of cap it off. Now I'm going to kind of end it right there because at the end we get into some more double stop kind of rhythms as it's fading out and you can barely hear it. But from there, the cool thing is you can take some of these concepts and some of these bends we've done and some of the phrasing and the triplets and stuff like that, and you could, find a backing track of this and just keep practicing it and keep it going. It doesn't have to end there. In fact, he didn't end it there. That's just where they faded it out. But the things we can take from this are the use of bends for tension and release, the use of vibrato to create this beautiful movement. And he may be doing some of that with the whammy bar. In fact, I'm pretty sure he is. I don't really use one, so I just do it with the vibrato with my fingers. And those triplets are really cool. So if you were to just take your, let's say your minor pentatonic, maybe think of like if you were, thinking of a tempo kind of like this, okay? Then started to go triplet, 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 triplet. Like keep it really simple. And you could even, instead of doing the whole scale, just pick a little part. Or it could be here. Or right here. That's actually kind of a really cool one because then you're involving bends into the mix. But the point is you can steal that rhythm and make it your own. Maybe you ascend and go like this. Maybe throw in some of those double stops in your playing. There you have it, both solos, note for note, plus hopefully some key takeaways you can take for your own playing and implement and kind of keep working on creating your own unique voice because it is surely there. Even though there's only one David Gilmour and he is truly a special player, I would also say there's only one of you, and you also have something really special to share. But part of that journey of finding our voice is borrowing from the people that have come before us. Thank you for watching the lesson. If you enjoyed it and would like more of these kinds of lessons and breakdowns, give the video a like, give it a share. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your top 3 favorite solos, and let's keep this kind of work going. Let's keep breaking down the language of our heroes. Let's keep learning from them and using that to create our own unique voice. And I appreciate your time. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.